So.
Welcome to Sewing Anastasia, and today we are going to do a sewing challenge. I love challenges and I love sewing. So the current sewing challenge that's kind of going around YouTube right now is the Walkaway Dress. It's a dress from 1952 that women were supposed to be able to start sewing after breakfast and be able to wear it away to lunch. So let's see if we can create that dress in a few hours. I think I can create it in about an hour and a half. And to prove it, I'm going to be using a stopwatch here on my phone so that way we can track how long it takes me to do this dress. And thanks to Stephanie Canada for starting the sewing challenge. And if you want to try this sewing challenge, all you need to do is find the Butterick reproduction of B4790. And then you can have this dress right here to be able to sew along and do the sewing challenge as well. Or you can find the original online sometimes too. And Butterick currently claims that it's fast and easy, so let's put it to the test. So let's start this timer. And we're off. So I gathered my supplies. I'm going to be doing the contrast style here, but I'm going to be using a navy blue fabric and a floral for the center fabric. I'm also going to be using 2 different colors for the bias binding to keep it fun. I'm going to be using red and blue. I've got some contrasting red and blue thread, and I've got my snap. So the first thing I want to do is cut it out. So let's go over to the cutting table, lay out our fabrics, cut out our fabrics, and mark our darts. So we're at the cutting table, and we're going to cut out this pattern. So today I'm cutting out size 10 of this pattern. First piece I'm cutting out here is going to be the front of the dress, which is cut on fold. So I've got my fabric folded. We're gonna put some weights on it, and now we're going to cut it out. I'm going to be using a rotary cutter. So I'm marking my darts right now, so that way when we go over to the sewing machine, we are just ready to sit down and sew. So we've got a bust dart and we've got 2 fisheye darts. So we have got a lot of darts in this dress. Now I'm done marking all of my darts, so it's time to move on to our back pattern pieces, and I'm gonna be using that contrasting fabric for that. And right now we're at 7 minutes and 23 seconds, and we've got 1 piece cut out. So now we have the back flowy skirt and the 2 front sides cut out. Here we go. And you know what? I placed mine center back on fold, so I don't gotta sew up that seam. We're gonna make this even a little quicker. Little tip and trick of the trade. So here we go. We have 1 beautiful piece that is gonna be wrapping around our back to our front. Now what we need to do is cut out our back bodice. Now you can do a pattern alteration on this. This pattern says you can lengthen or shorten it right here. And I'm a shorty, so I already know I need to shorten my back waist measurement. So I'm gonna shorten this and tape it down. Okay, we have all of the pattern pieces cut out. Now we need to go sew this baby together. And let's see, I don't know, where are we at on our time here? Oh, we are at 14 minutes and 18 seconds. So let's go head over to the sewing machine and see if we can get this sewn up lickety-splitty. So I've got my machine all set up, and now we're gonna sit down and we're gonna sew some darts, and we are at 17 minutes and 17 seconds. Okay, we got 1 bust dart. Okay, now we got some crazy darts over here in the side. Okay, we got that funky side dart. Now we need 1 more over here. So as always, we're gonna mark those centers first to make sure they end up even. Maybe, let's see, I got a lot of dots here. Okay, these ones we are gonna pin. Okay, we are done with all of those darts. We had 6 darts in this front bodice here. Let's take a look at these darts because they're pretty cool the way they create shape in the front bodice. So we've got 2 fish eye darts here coming down from the bust. We've got some additional fish eye darts over here where there would kind of be a side seam. And then we've got a couple bust darts up here. So we're gonna iron these all towards center front and down. Okay, darts are ironed. Okay, we're 29 minutes in, we've got a cutout, we've got some darts, and now we gotta sew this back bodice together to the skirt. So I said I could do it in an hour and a half. We're already a half hour in, and we've got a ton of bias binding to do. So I'm a little nervous. We are not gonna finish this in an hour and a half. Let's do the best we can, right? That's all we can do. So I'm just gonna be pinning the back waist here a bit because we do have, oh wait, but this is the whole skirt. What did we do here? Did I do this right? Back to front. Does this wrap all the way around us? Is that what happens with this design? It does, it wraps all the way around my waist. Okay, scared myself for a minute there because I did put that skirt back on fold to save us some time, hoping it didn't mess me up and make things worse. But it seems like we are going to work out great, of course. I just gotta hurry up. Okay, back waist is pinned and we are just going to sew this baby up. So the seam here, they want us to leave it raw and just keep it stitched. It's kind of driving me crazy. I'm not gonna lie, I really just wanna serge it, but I'm gonna leave it because I'm gonna stay true to this challenge and this pattern. So now let's go ahead and sew the shoulders together to the front. Now we've got the front to the back at the shoulders. And next it wants us to hem up just the front piece 1.25 inches. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna iron up the 1/4 and then the inch. So that way it's a little faster when I sit down at the sewing machine. Had some stuff in there about basting it. I always skip those basting steps. They are very unnecessary. So if you've got some experience sewing, a lot of times you can just skip those. So now we're gonna turn it up 1 inch after we've got the 1/4. So a little bit of a sewing hack is you can iron this in place instead of pinning it in place. And that way when you've ironed it in place, it's really gonna stay in place for you. Okay, let's go sew it down. That was so easy and fast with that front hem, right? Wants us to let our dress hang for 24 hours before hemming. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna permit the bias to set. We are gonna stitch the lower edge of the dress at 3/8 of an inch and use a long machine stitch as shown. And then we are going to make a 5/8 narrow hem at lower edge of front and back, pulling threads to ease fullness on curve. Okay, another sewing hack for you. Don't try hemming a circle at 5/8. Just go ahead and do a narrow hem, either 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch. If you have a rolled hem foot, you could use this. I'm just gonna do it by hand though. So I'm just gonna turn this narrow rolled hem over around the edge. And this is a sewing hack because we're skipping some steps. We don't need to put that basting stitch in there. We don't need to pull the string. We don't need to sew up extra fabric and then cut fabric off. There are a lot of really unnecessary steps. So all we need to do is roll hem it. So when I laid my pattern out, it ran into the selvage here. So I am going to chop this selvage off. When you're sewing, you always run into little issues, right? You just gotta know how to fix them. So I just cut off the edge of the fabric because when I was laying out my pattern, it ran into it. So now we're back in action. Let's keep hemming. So much hem, oh my gosh. We made it. Back stitch and cut. Biggest hem ever. We hemmed that giant circle. That took forever, right? But it looks great and it went under really nice. Let's check our time. We are at 50 minutes and 44 seconds, so we can still possibly make it. We've got about 40 minutes to finish this dress, so let's do it. Okay, what's next on our list here? So next we have a lot of bias binding to do. It looks like we're bias binding the neck, and then we are doing the sides, and then we are doing the armholes. We're leaving a loop for a button and putting some snaps on. So we are really close to finishing this. So let's get on our bias binding. So I'm gonna be putting the bias binding on the neck, and I'm gonna be using red. We got a double fold bias binding here, just like it suggested. I'm going to be starting at the neck here. I'm going to be starting on the inside of the fabric. I'm gonna sew 2 stitches and then wrap it all the way around to the front. And I think that's gonna look really nice, especially when it hits these 2 contrasting fabrics. The red's just gonna pull it all together. So I'm gonna switch out my machine now to red thread, and let's do this. Okay, now our machine is all set up with some red thread. We are ready to get this neck binding on here. Let's also remove the bed of the sewing machine. Let's go for it. We are at 1 hour. That means I've got another half hour, and we have to do the binding on the sides and the armholes and put our snaps on. And we've only got a half hour to do it. So let's do it, and let's do it quick. Okay, so we definitely might run out of bias binding. I only have this much red, and there's some blue somewhere. Here it is. And I've got some blue down here. But I have 2 sides and 2 armholes to do. So they might kind of be a little mismatched, but I think it's still gonna be cute if I even have enough here. So let's try. Okay, 1 armhole done and 1 more to go. This is a lot of dress. This is a lot of work. This is taking me way longer than I kind of expected, and I'm working pretty fast here. And as you see, I put in a few shortcuts too with that hem and such, because, you know, why waste time? Time is precious. So I've got 1 armhole here left to do, and then I think we're gonna be out of bias binding. So I'm gonna have to figure out what to do. Let's see what happens. Okay, we've finished the second armhole. We've got 1 that's blue and 1 that's red. Extra fun around here. Okay, so we have run into a dilemma like I thought we would. We only have this much bias tape left, but we have 2 sides of this dress to add bias binding to. And you know what? They basically look like straight sides, so why can't we just roll hem these? That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Quarter inch, let's roll hem them. And we can do this because it's a nice clean finish. Just like bias binding is a nice clean finish, a rolled hem is a nice clean finish as well. And this part's gonna be tucked behind the back of the dress, so no one's ever gonna see it. And we've only got less than 20 minutes left. We're at 1 hour and 12 minutes, so let's finish this dress. I said I could do it in 1.5 hours. Let's see. Whew, 1 side done, 1 to go. Whew, okay, we got the sides finished. We have some threads to cut here. We've got threads everywhere. Don't want to be a mess at our afternoon luncheon, right? More like pizza lunch, but that's all good. Okay, so we have got edges finished. We've got bias. Oh, I've got some armhole edges here to finish. And then we need snaps and a button for the back. I almost feel like this dress would work better with a tie in the back. I kind of wonder why the directions don't suggest that. I feel like I don't want a button at my center back, but I would like a little tie. I'm just going to sew down the ends of these bias pieces here. Okay. 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 Okay, so step 22 on here is a loop on one end and a button on the other. So we're gonna go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm gonna go grab a button. Okay, we've got buttons. We need to get a button on here so fast. Okay, blue button. That blue button works. Let's get our hand sewing needle. Oh, the worst part, the hand sewing. Always takes the longest. I don't even know how much time we have left, but I feel like it's not enough. And we've got okay, we've got 12 minutes. If I can find a hand sewing needle, we might be in business. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's go get a hand sewing needle. Okay, we are gonna sew the fastest button in the entire world. And it's gonna be nice and secure and functional, of course. Because we gotta wear this dress out to lunch, right? We're gonna do it. Okay. We have got our button on. Now we just need to make sure that we have a loop of bias on the other side. Should have left it earlier when I was putting the bias on, but I forgot to. So, where's my bias at? Extra bias strips are somewhere. Okay. Oh boy. Going to sew a bias loop on here. So loud. Scared me. Thought we broke a needle. Cut off the extra. Trim up our threads so we look beautiful. Okay, so now we have to sew those snaps onto the front. So they are going to overlap like this, and we're gonna have some snaps here. Now the question is, where did I put my snaps? Here they are. Okay. Let's sew like the wind again by hand. Let's do this. What time is it? Hour and 22. We can do this. How fast can you hand sew snaps? I don't know how fast I can hand sew snaps. Whenever you're in a rush, things always go wrong, right? Like your hands shake, you're nervous, what is going to happen? Oh my gosh. Okay, let's get a snap in here. Oh my gosh, this is right down to the line. I am shaking. One hole, another hole, one more hole. Oh boy, catching the fabric. One more hole, make a knot, make a knot. Okay, cut. Got some extra thread back there. Okay, we've got one more piece of snap to sew on, and we've got about 3 minutes left. So I think we're gonna make it unless something goes horribly wrong. Like I sewed the snaps on backwards. Okay, you guys, we did it. We just finished the dress. Let's hit stop on the timer. And we did it in an hour, 27 minutes, and 58 seconds. Knew I could do it in an hour and a half. The real test is trying it on and making sure that I actually sewed it up right. And does it fit? How is it gonna look? I remember seeing everybody else's responses to this dress. Some liked it, some people didn't like the way this fit at all. So I'm real curious to see how this dress is going to fit me. Here it is. Here is that walkaway dress. We are ready to walk away to lunch. What are you hungry for? I'm hungry for some pizza, definitely. But let's take a look at this dress and see how it turned out. Let's go over what I love about this dress and what I want to change on this dress. So one of the features I really like about this dress is the bias binding everywhere. I think it makes it have a really nice clean edge without having to put an entire lining or facing into the dress. So it makes it really quick because we just put that binding on there. Another thing I really like about the dress is that you just kind of put it on, it's easy to wear, it's fitted, but it has some movement to it. But something I would like to change about the dress is right here at the armpit. I haven't tried this on yet, but it seems like this piece wants to fall away. So I feel like we need a snap here or some sort of other string in the back perhaps, or like a tie or some sort of closure. Or honestly, what I would do is go ahead and change the pattern piece. It looks like it's going straight down. I would make this come over to the back a little bit more because we don't want to see our bra back here. I feel like if I do any sort of movement, this here is going to open up, which could be kind of uncomfortable unless we're wearing it as a beach wrap. Also, this little snaps in front is super cute. I love how clean that looks, but hear me out. I think it would be super cool if these folded back a couple inches and we put some ties on there or just additional snaps here. So that way we could see more of the front of the dress, which is fitted, because it's so cute. And especially when it's in two different fabrics, it really gives it a nice pop and it has a really different style to it. But I do like the way these lines here come down. Now mine are pulling out a little bit. Maybe it's the fabric I used, or maybe it just needs to be tighter on the dress form. I also wanted to show what this dress looks like in the back. So I love the way it just wraps around tight around your waist with the button and the loop there. And then it just kind of, comes out to the side, but it covers enough over here. But again, it's just this little part over here. I feel like it should really come a little higher. So if I make this dress again, I'm definitely gonna make that pattern adjustment. So now that we know what it looks like and how we created it and all that good stuff, and we did it under an hour and a half, can you believe it? Let's try it on and see what it looks like. Here it is. I would say overall, this dress fits great and it feels great. The only thing I do have a problem with is this area right here. So I'd really like to put a snap here so that way it stays shut, and maybe some stronger snaps or some ties at the front. But overall, I love the way this fits. I love the contrasting fabric under here. You can see how well it fits under the wrap. And so we just wrap this over the front and we are ready to go. And the nice thing about this is that it has a lot of great flow to it. Get these little snaps here. So I love the detail of this bias binding. I think it's so pretty and nice on the edge, nice clean finish. I love the rolled hem on the edge. This is just a great quick way to finish off your hem as well. Overall, I really like this dress, but for me, I would make it much shorter because, I'm just not very tall. But I love the flow of it. I'm ready for a stroll, a picnic in the park, just to enjoy the afternoon. We started making it after breakfast. It took us an hour and a half, and now we are ready for our lunch date. So it really is a walk-away dress. So if you decide to sew up this walk-away dress, I would love to know what kind of fabrics you used and how long did it take you to make your walk-away dress? Were you able to start it after breakfast and wear it out till lunch? And if you decide to sew up the walk-away dress, I would love to see it. So make sure you tag me in it. I'd love to share it with everyone else. So make sure you tag Sew Anastasia. If you enjoyed this sewing challenge today, make sure you give it a thumbs up, give it some applause, and leave a comment down below. I would love to know if you like these videos that are sewing challenges. I'm thinking about creating some sewing challenges just for you. So let me know what you think of the sewing challenge idea, and if you have any ideas for sewing challenges, I would love to create those as well, so leave those down below. If you're not already a subscriber to Sew Anastasia, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when all the new videos come out. And if you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for watching today and following along. And if you don't already follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all the social media websites, make sure you check out Sew Anastasia so that way we can stay connected and creative together. And don't forget, I now teach sewing classes in my design studio in Chicago, Illinois. So you can take classes in person here with me, or you can take them virtually anywhere in the world. So make sure you check those out at sewanastasia.com. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.